Hey guys, and welcome to SYNTHO. In this video, we're going to take a look at how you can dig for and rip your very own vocal a cappella samples from YouTube and import them into your DAW and then process them to fit them with your music. So I know a few people ask about vocal samples and where you can get them from and how you can use them in your music. And I find a very good method is just to dig on YouTube to find old school vocal a cappella samples from old soul records, disco, funk, 90s music, and just have a real good look, see what you like, download a load of them, and then see if they fit with your track. And then you can always save them in your very own little sample pack for later use. So we're going to take a look at from the very first step of looking for those acapellas, then downloading them, putting them into our track, and processing them to get a nice clean vocal and fit them with our music so that they're in key and so that they're in time. So, to demonstrate this process first, I've found this one off camera, but we will do some more digging later so we can see what potential you can get actually when you do a little bit of digging. And how I found this was basically by typing in 70s soul acapella, then found a playlist called 90s acapellas. So let's just take a quick listen to it and we'll try and pick out some vocal lines that we like.
Till my stone cold grave, I'll be pushing on. She'll be pushing on. Till my blood runs dry, I've been riding high. She'll be riding high. When my soul's wear through, I won't be feeling blue. I'll be pushing on. Pushing on.
Right, so already there's some really beautiful vocals there. So I'm just going to record the first 30 seconds. So the way I do this on my interface is that it has a loop back function. So if we go onto Ableton, we open up a new audio track. Now, I don't know how this works on the interface that you've got, but if you've got one with a loop back function that can record whatever is playing to your speakers, then that's really handy. If not, then you can use some other software such as Black Hole, which can do the same sort of thing, but I won't go into that in this video. Apart from that, you could just use a YouTube to WAV converter. But anyway, the simplest way is if you've got an interface like mine, we want to set the input to our interface. We want to choose our input, which in this case is going to be 910/loopback. We can then arm the track for record, solo it so we don't have anything else coming out of our speakers at the same time. We want to then click record. Okay, so now the track's rolling. Let's go back to the acapella, start it again, get a nice long take.
Till my stone cold grave, I'll be pushing on.
So now we can see that that has been recorded into Ableton, which is really nice and handy. So now you've basically got yourself a vocal sample. So now you can at this point see if it fits with your track, which we will do in a minute. But we're going to collect some more that could potentially work, and then we're going to process them and see how they fit with our track. So I'm going to start the process from scratch. Let's go again, 70s soul a cappella. And usually there's quite a lot of playlists which are really handy to have. So let's see this one, a cappella funk soul. Just looking for something that kind of piques our attention, grabs us.
It was hard time. Needed something to eat my trouble, man. Left home seeking a job that I never did find.
Yeah, I think we're going to want to go for something female, maybe, actually. Yeah, that was a little cool melody there, so let's get that in as well. So let's keep going and get some more.
Fantasy girl, you make my dream come true.
Something in there, possibly. Okay, let's get that one recorded in.
Fantasy girl, You make my dream come true.
Let's keep going. Right. So that one went a bit long. Let's do this last one now, and then we'll see what we've got. Right, let's get another one in from this one. Cool. Right, let's attempt to just get one more. Feeling like we've got space for one more attempt. And then we'll see where we're at.
I was just thinking about you.
So they're cool, like little spoken words there. So let's get them recorded in.
I was just thinking about you.
So we got 5 tracks there. Now let's take a listen to them, try and fit them in with our track, see what results we can get. Okay, so let's have a look at this first one now. Let's get it in time, and then we'll take a look at some actual processing to get it to sound as good as possible, because obviously when you rip in these a cappellas sometimes or vocal samples, they can sometimes be pretty lo-fi. So if you want them to sound a bit more pristine, then I can show you some tips for that as well. Let's take a look.
Till my stone cold grave, I'll be pushing on.
Let's first start by getting it in time. Step number 1 for that is to find the starting point of the vocal. So if we click into the clip here, and we move this left-hand brace here all the way to the start of the vocal, you can get as close as you want. About there will do fine. We can then crop that. So then we've got it right at the start.
Till my stone cold grave, I'll be pushing on.
Okay, it's still not exactly in time. So there's a few different ways you can do this. You can either warp it and drag out individual words, but a really fast way that I find to do this is to change the pitch, which will then change the timing, and then you reset the pitch to what it was before. So let's have a go at that first and see if that can get it in time. If not, then we'll take a look at some warping. So to do this now, we need to turn warping off to start with. Then we can mess with this pitch and see if that can make it lock into the beat.
Till my stone cold grave, I'll be pushing on. Till my stone cold grave. Till my stone cold grave, I'll be pushing on.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Till my stone cold grave, I'll be pushing on.
Okay, so it looks like it's going to be in between +3 and +4. So this is at this point nearly in time. And what we can do is we can use this fine tune here. We're going to want to go up a little bit. And as you can see, because the warping is off here, by changing the pitch, you are changing the timing of the vocal.
Till my stone cold grave, I'll be pushing on. Till my stone cold grave, I'll be pushing on.
Okay, that sounds good to me. So at this point now, we can neaten up the end as well. Let's go to about there. So now, if we have a look, how much have we changed it by? We've changed it by +3 semitones and 40 cents here. So what we can do now is we can re-warp it. So click warp now, click yes. Now that's going to lock in that timing. And now we can take it back down to the original pitch, and that timing is going to stay the same.
Till my stone cold grave, I'll be pushing on.
Nice. So now, if we want, we can consolidate that. So now, let's get some more lines out of this one a cappella that we can use in this track, and we'll get these in time as well.
Pushing on. Till
Okay, so I like just that section there, and I feel like I could probably just move this a little bit to get it in time.
pushing on. Pushing on. Pushing on.
Okay, can you hear the on in that bit is actually a little bit late? So what we're going to do now is we're going to just take that and crop that down. So we just got our section that we like there. And now I'm going to use the warping method. So let's just take this warping point here from this point onwards, and we'll lock this first point in here. Now, if we turn the grid off so we can get really detailed with how we're moving it, then let's just shift this back a little bit and listen to how that sounds.
Pushing on, pushing on, pushing on.
A little bit too much there, probably.
Pushing on,
That's all right.
pushing on.
Okay, so really, it's just very fine tuning here.
Pushing on.
Okay, so that works. So now we've done that warping. We can consolidate that, and we've got another little line there. So now let's get a few more which are similar to this first one here, and then we'll look at some processing.
Till my blood runs, till my stone cold grave, I'll be pushing on. Till my blood runs dry, I'll be riding high.
So we can use that as well. So this is now, it's the same rhythm as the first one we did. So we know that we can just change the pitch and it should just lock it in time. Let's find our starting point again. Go about there. We'll crop it down. Now let's turn warping off again. Let's go up by 3 and 40. And let's see how that is.
Till my blood runs dry, till my blood runs dry, I'll be riding high.
Yeah, works really nice. Warping back on. Put the pitch back down to what it was before.
Till my blood runs dry, I'll be riding high. She'll be riding high when my soul.
Okay, we'll maybe look at that one in a minute. Let me get these other ones in.
When my soul's wear through, I won't be feeling blue. I'll be pushing on.
Okay, nice. That's another good one. So let's do the same process again.
When my soul.
Okay, that starting point is already pretty good, so let's crop it down. Let's turn warping off and go 340 again. Get it at the start of the bar.
When my soul's wear through, I won't be feeling blue. I'll be pushing on.
Perfect. Okay, let's now put warping back on. Put it down. Really fast process here. Really nice way of doing it.
When my soul's wear through, I won't be feeling blue. I'll be pushing on.
Okay.
Pushing on. Pushing on. Pushing on.
And then let's revisit this one.
She'll be riding high.
Okay, so we've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to work with here. Let's get this last one in time.
She'll be riding high. She'll be riding high.
So one like this, I might have to resort to warping again. So let's consolidate that so we know what we're working with. And let's have a go warping this.
She'll be riding high.
We could just try starting from this point here.
She'll be riding high. She'll be riding high. She'll be riding high.
In fact, you know what? Let's do the pitch. Let's try that.
She'll be riding high. 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 She'll be riding high.
Sometimes you want the vocal to start just before the bar as well, especially when they're saying something like sh.
She'll be riding high. She'll be riding high.
Like that. Okay? Now let's put the pitch back down.
She'll be riding high.
And then we can crop that like so. Nice and neat. Okay, so we've got all of our ones there. So now you can just arrange it how you want in the track. So I'm really happy with that now. Let's just take a listen to how they are right now.
Till my stone cold grave, I'll be pushing on. Pushing on.
Bit of reverb.
Till my blood runs dry, I'll be riding high. She'll be riding
can just do little edits now. Like, for example, I like that pushing on bit there on its own. So I could put that back there, drag that out like that.
Till my stone cold way, I'll be pushing on. Pushing on. Pushing on. Till my blood runs dry, I'll be riding high. She'll be riding high.
And there we have it. With a few simple steps of getting it in time, we've got something that works really nicely with our track. And quite luckily, the pitch actually fits the key of our track as well, which is very handy. So now let me just show you some quick processing things that we can do to this vocal to make it as best as possible. And then we'll have a brief look at the other vocals that we downloaded as well. So on the insert, let's first get up EQ. Let's see what we could take out and what we could boost to make it sound as good as possible.
Till my blood runs dry, I'll be riding high.
Okay, so we don't really need this mud down here because this is a female vocal sample. She's singing quite high. Obviously, there's not going to be that many important low frequencies. So let's just take out as much as we can.
Till my blood runs dry, I'll be riding high. Till my blood runs dry, I'll be riding high.
Okay, that's good. So I've just taken out some low-end rumble there that we don't really need. Now let's see what we could take away if there's any frequencies which are a little bit too harsh.
Till my blood runs dry.
When she's saying blood, just listen, there's a little bit of a harshness in there.
Till my blood runs dry.
When she says blood runs, let's try and figure out where that is. Just from experience, my guess is it's going to be around here.
Till my blood runs dry. Till my blood runs dry. Till my blood runs dry.
Okay, so it seems to be around there. So let's just do a gentle cut there.
Till my blood runs dry, I'll be riding high.
That's cool. Now let's compensate for what we've taken away by adding in some clarity a little bit further up, around 3K or 4K.
Till my blood runs dry, I'll be riding high. She'll be riding high.
Sounds great to me, so we'll leave that EQ in for now. Luckily, it's a decent vocal sample that doesn't need too much doing to it, so that's okay. Now, my next suggestion would be to use SYNTHO. If you are working with a lot of vocals, you like vocals like me, and you dig in and stuff, and you're finding lots of vocal samples that you'd like to use, then SYNTHO is a worthy investment, and not also just for vocals. You can use it on any sample, any drum loops, anything that's just not very clear sounding and not very smooth. And this is just going to help take away some of those resonances. So what I did before with the EQ was a gentle curve, just to take away that general area of harshness. Now SYNTHO is going to do it a lot more precisely, but at the same time, it won't ruin the sound at all.
Till my blood runs dry, I'll be riding high.
So that's just in its default state. Let's put the delta on. So this is going to show us what it's getting rid of. Okay, so that's what it's getting rid of. Let's just reduce the depth, so the amount.
Till my blood runs dry, I'll be riding high. She'll be riding high.
Awesome. Sounds great. Let's see what else could be done to it.
Till my blood runs dry, I'll be riding high.
Now, obviously, there's an inherent little bit of crunchiness in there, but to be honest, it sounds pretty cool. You can tell it's a sample, and that's nice.
Till my stone cold way, I'll be pushing on. Till my stone cold way, I'll be pushing on.
What I might do is, I might also put this in mono.
Till my stone cold way, I'll be pushing on.
Now let's add some echo.
Till my stone cold way, I'll be pushing on. Till my stone cold way, I'll be pushing on. She'll be riding high. Till my blood runs dry, I'll be riding high. Till my stone cold way, I'll be pushing on.
I think 8th note dotted works well.
Till my stone cold way, I'll be pushing on.
So obviously, this is just making it sound as good as possible. Now, my final suggestion, which won't always work, is something like micro shift. Just to get some stereo width from these vocals. Mix can be in the middle. And maybe a little bit more reverb as well, which I've already got set up on a return channel here. Okay, so we'll leave that as it is for now. That is sounding really cool, and I really like that, and it was just so easy to find this one. So, chuffed with that. Now let's take a look at some other vocals and how we can fit these into this track as well. Okay, so we got the second one we found. So I've got a feeling this could work, maybe. So let's try it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the starting point and I'm going to get it in time, just like before. Let's get rid of our other vocal for now. Okay, I also know that I don't want that end in there, so if we just increase the size of the track so we can see where it ends. About there. Yeah, let's put some reverb on this as well. We might have to put some delay on that so it doesn't end so abruptly, but that's pretty cool. Now I think what's going to work for this is some warping. So let's just get our starting point bang on. Out there, let's crop it down. Okay, so I think this point here needs to come back a little bit. We can have the grid on as well. It just depends how precise you want to get. Okay, so that's nearly there. Saying that, let's turn the grid off because we need it just to be about there. Okay. Let's get a little bit of a fade at the end so it's smooth. Okay, so we're in time and immediately I want to get some echo on this so that end isn't so abrupt. Okay, pretty cool. Let's put it in mono. And the reason I'm putting it in mono is just because I like to add my own chorus in or microshift later. So it's better if it's in mono. Okay, so obviously I'm using a lot of different vocal samples here, so maybe this won't all fit together in this track, but we'll see. They fit. Wow, we're getting very lucky here, guys, because everything is in key. And I swear to you, I didn't pre-plan these vocals to fit in key. They just do. So we're very lucky. So that was quite easy and simple to get in time. You just saw me do a little bit of warp in there. So it's either using the pitch to change the speed and then pitching it back to the correct key, or it's using warping. So the choice is yours, what you do there. So now what I've noticed with this one is I want to do a little bit of compression, because audibly I can hear that this section here is going up in volume, and I want to control those dynamics slightly. So let's just add an easy compressor to that. And we're going to get it so that the threshold is going to kick in when it becomes loud here. So let's try that. Let's do a higher ratio of, say, 9, and we're just going to bring down the threshold even more. So everything is just nicely leveled out. Get away with a little bit more. Okay, nice. So the dynamics have been more controlled there. So now let's increase the output gain to match what it was before. Final thing again, let's add some microshift again. Now, this is optional. It depends what your tastes are. But I think this vocal might be good to be quite wide. Now let's keep going. Let's take a look at some more vocals.
Fantasy girl, you make my dream come true. When I see you, I don't know what to do. When I come fading in, I can't help myself. Vision, I dream of.
All right, that's a cool vocal, but I think there's too many words for it to fit with our track, to be honest with you. For another track, that would work, but you know, if you've got a collection of them that don't end up working for the track that you create, and then save them, which I'm going to show you how to do at the end. Now let's listen to this final one.
I was just thinking about you, wondering if you wear the same clothes just to see you walk on. You had that mask.
So this little line at the start could work. So what I sometimes do to quickly get it in time is just drag this starting point here instead of going into the clip. And I hold command while I'm doing that so that it goes off grid smoothly like that. So we can just quickly see if this little spoken word is going to work in our track.
I was just thinking about you. I was just thinking about you.
Maybe.
I was just thinking about you. I was just thinking about you. I was just thinking about you.
This could work with some more effects on. So I think that timing wise, that is okay.
I was just thinking about you.
It just needs to be positioned correctly.
I was just thinking about you. Thinking about you. Thinking about you.
Maybe actually we could get rid of the start and just have the thinking about you.
Thinking about you. Thinking about you. Thinking about you. Thinking about you.
Okay, so now at this point, I'm happy with that is what we're going to use. Now we're just going to adjust the timing a little bit. Dead simply using the pitch again.
Thinking about you. Thinking about you. Thinking about you. Thinking about you. Thinking about you.
We're going to work with the fine tuning again.
Thinking about you.
Okay, happy with that. Let's warp it. Reset our pitch.
Thinking about you.
Okay, that's cool. Consolidate it. Right, so we've got another vocal line we could work with there. Now let's really affect this one up. So I'm going to put some echo on this one, and then maybe some filters as well. Let's just experiment with some random echo. That's pretty cool.
Thinking about you. Thinking about you.
And let's EQ it so it's even more like an effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to really EQ it to give it like a not natural character.
Thinking about you. Thinking about you. Thinking about you. Thinking about you. Thinking about you.
We can even make this a really steep filter.
Thinking about you. Thinking about you. Thinking about you.
That's cool. Now let's just try some filtering with a bit of resonance.
Thinking about you. Thinking about you. Thinking about you.
So there's potential for that vocal as well. But as I say, it might not always work. Let's just redux it a little bit.
Thinking about you. Thinking about you. Thinking about you.
And let's ping pong it.
Thinking about you.
Right guys, so that about concludes our video. Hope you've enjoyed the processes of looking for vocal samples on YouTube, downloading them, getting them into our track, and then seeing how we can get them in time and process them to fit with our track. So obviously, if you're a vinyl DJ and you've got lots of records and you've got means of recording records, then I'd highly recommend go digging in record shops for vocal samples. So just pick out a load of random records and just go through them and see if there's anything that can be used for a vocal sample, and then record that in yourself. And obviously there's going to be so much out there which isn't on YouTube, so it will just open up another world of what's possible with finding vocals. Other things as well, it doesn't have to be a cappellas singing, it can be interviews or things, people just talking and things like that. It depends what you want to go for in your track. I like kind of singing vocals, so that's what I've gone for here. Now, there's one more thing that I'll show you just before we'll sign out. So say you want to save these vocals for another time that you've recorded in. It's as simple as finding the clip here, going show in Finder, then copying that, creating a new Finder window. Wherever you save your vocals, create a new folder. Then you can, once you find the folder, just paste it in there, and then you can just build up a load that way that you can store in your sample library for later use. And it might be even worth, when you're not feeling creative to make a track and you're not working on a project, just to spend time dedicated to finding the vocal samples, downloading them into a project and not even processing them yet, just saving them all into a folder, and then when you need a vocal sample, going back to that folder to save you looking for one when you're in the flow of creating the music. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've seen how easy it is to find cool vocals and how easy it is to get them in time and to get them to fit with your track. So if you've got any questions on this, I know I didn't go into details too much about the warping and things like that, so give me a shout if you're stuck on that. So take care everyone, and I'll see you again soon.